Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you guys know, in our last tutorial, we had talked about methods as a props. How we can send methods as a props and how we can receive them in our child component and call them from the child components. In our current tutorial, we will be talking about conditional rendering. Its conditional rendering is very normal in any kind of project. Either you are doing a web application or a website, you must be using some sort of conditional rendering. For example, you are going to log in. In case you are logged in, you want to show the username, or if the user is not logged in, you want to show guest. So these kind of rendering of names should be done with the help of conditional rendering. So the first one that we will be using conditional rendering is if else. The second is element variable. The third one is ternary conditional operators. The fourth one is short circuit operator. In the current tutorial, we will be learning all these four types of conditional renderings, and we will see how they are different from each other and which one of them is best to use. So let me go ahead to my Visual Studio in our project where we are learning. So what I will do is I'll just close all the tab. I'll just keep my app tab and then I'll comment out the old code and I will create a new component named as user greet.js. In this component, I will be using RCE React class component creation snippet to create a traditional class component. I'll get rid of this export button and I'll just I will just import this user greet in my app.js class. So let me save this one. I will say welcome. Okay, welcome. And I will say future dimension. Okay. So let me go to the browser and see. You can see welcome future dimension is appearing. So what I want now, let me go ahead and try to duplicate this div and I'll say welcome guest. One thing I forgot to told you guys that React is always taking one node as a child parameter. You cannot pass multiple nodes as a child parameter. So see, these two divs that are coming in the same level are two different childs. So it should be wrapped with one div always, or you can use fragments to wrap those as well. We will be learning about fragments later on, so you can understand that more better in more better way. Let me go ahead and show you. Now what I want is I want some sort of condition on which I can render these two strings. For example, what I will do is I'll create a constructor using rconst as a React snippet and I will say user logged in. Okay, I'll keep it as false. So what I want is once the value of this user login is true, what we can do is we can show the message welcome future dimensions, and if it's false we can show the message welcome guest. This is our actual example right now in our tutorial. So let me go ahead and try to use our first method. What is our first method? That is if else. So how we can do it with if else? Let me use first destructing of my state, and how we can do that. Destructing of our state is const and then curly braces and then user logged in and equals to this dot state. Okay, so now I will say in my render function if user is logged in, if it's true, what you have to return, let me copy this one and comment out this code and I'll say if my user is logged in, show welcome future dimensions. In case my user is not logged in, so what you have to show is welcome guest. So pretty good what we are using, what we want, we can achieve it. As you guys see, I am in my browser and I can see here welcome guest. Why? Because my user logged in is false. Let me change it to true and you can see welcome future dimension is appearing. This is very nice method where you can use if else for using conditional rendering. You as you guys can see here, I am using this return 2 times, this div 2 times, this div another 2 times. So a lot of repetition is there. And I cannot bring this user login here to this name directly inside JSX. You cannot use if and else statement within JSX till today's date. So this method is still okay in small application, but if you have large scale application, it will give a lot of code repetition and it's not recommended to go on with this method. Let's go ahead and check the next method, that is element variable. So what should be the element variable method? Let me comment it out. For element variable, what I have to do is I have to create let and I'll say message. Okay. In the message, I will just say if again user, like what I will do is I have to save the name in the message. If user is logged in, you can say message equal to, what should be the message? Message equal to this component. Okay, if it's login, return this. Else, if it's not logged in, you have to return what? You have to return welcome guest. This is another method where you can use the elements inside your variable and conditionally you can save the elements inside the variable and later on you can use return statement in which you can pass this element or this variable what you had created. Okay, I will say message. So let me go ahead and show you guys in our browser welcome future dimension. Let me change the user login to false and see if it works fine or no. Welcome guest. This is working fine. This is one of the technique to use. You can go on with this technique, but again, if you have a lot of conditional renderings, the app is complex or the component is complex, it will be much difficult to handle in this scenario. Let me go ahead and try to comment this code and check the next technique. What is the next technique to go on for conditional rendering? The next technique is ternary conditional operator. Very good, very useful technique. Normally 95% of the market is using this technique to use their conditional rendering, to go on with their conditional rendering. So this is what we have to use. We have to render currently, as you guys know. So that's it. This is what we have to render. So how we can use ternary operator? So ternary operator, for using that, I have to wrap this all code or both components inside curly braces, and within this curly braces I have to write one thing in the beginning, that is the condition that I can say user logged in with question mark. I can say if user is login is true, what you have to do, you have to show this element. If it's false, you have to show this element. Okay, let me go ahead and check if it's working fine or no. Welcome guest is appearing. Let me change the value to true and see if it works fine or no. As you guys see, it's working very fine. So 95% of the market is using ternary operation in case you have to use conditional statement or you have to show elements on the base of condition. In case you have to show an element on the base of single condition, like for example, I'll tell you, show this welcome future dimension if user is login. If user is not login, don't show anything. So the best technique to do that is short circuit operator. What is short circuit operator and how we can do that one is, let me copy this one and then comment it out and I'll paste it like this. For short circuit operator, I have to remove this one. I just want one element to appear if user is logged in. So for that I have to spawn 2 times and inside curly braces I will say if user is login true, then spawn this element or put this element into the DOM. What React will do, React will come and check the first condition. If it's true, then React will move to the second condition. If it's not true, React will never go on to the second condition. Hit save and check in our browser. If it works fine, welcome future dimensions is appearing. Why? Because my state variable value is true. Let me make it false, save, and you can see in the browser nothing appears. So today's tutorial you had learned 4 different type of conditional operators. If else you had learned the first one, this technique is if else. This one you guys see if and else. Second is you can save this element, conditional element on the base of condition inside a variable, that is elemental approach. And the third one is you can say ternary operator by using this login with question mark and full colon. And the last one is you can say, I'll recall the name, short circuit operator. So these 4 techniques you had learned regarding conditional rendering. That's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys like it. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. See you soon inshallah in the next tutorial. Allah Hafiz.